Okay.
How do we look?
You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You look good.
Good answer.
Yeah, everything's set.
Yeah.
Legislatures don't deal with problems entirely in 140 days. It often takes more than one session, several sessions. Everything is a long game. This is a marathon and not a sprint. You have to figure that you're going to be going after this issue again and again and again and again to get it right. Every institution has its metrics for success. You'd be wrong to think that the only metric for success at the legislature is, did a bill pass? It's about whether that issue finds its way into the conversation going on in the building. Two big issues that are in play right now are marijuana and issues related to non-discrimination. What has happened in the 86th legislative session is that the broad set of policy proposals around marijuana have migrated from the fringe to the mainstream. The LGBTQ portfolio of issues has migrated to the mainstream. Both of those issues are now teed up to be taken more seriously, be addressed more directly in the 87th session, and that has to be defined as progress.
Could it finally happen statewide? Lesser penalties for marijuana possession.
Representative Joe Moody filed for the third session now a bill to decriminalize small amounts of marijuana. People who were found to possess small amounts of marijuana, they would have gotten a fine as opposed to getting a criminal Class B misdemeanor.
As you're here longer, you understand that when you're trying to create a sea change, it takes multiple sessions. The first vote this bill ever got in committee in 2015 was actually voted down. So this session, we've come a long way.
There being 103 ayes and 42 nays, the bill is finally passed.
It certainly was very heartening to see the body turn in such a, what is a relatively short period of time.
His bill passed out of the Texas House, not a decrim one, but one that just lessened the criminal penalties for Texans found to possess small amounts of the drug. And then less than 24 hours later, Dan Patrick gets on Twitter and is like, this bill is dead in the Senate.
And I worry about law enforcement coming and kicking the door down to my house and arresting me. I mean, why would they do that? We're lawful homeowners, taxpayers, military veterans, voters, but in Texas, we're criminals. That's why these laws need to change.
What I use medical marijuana for is severe PTSD symptoms and chronic pain. I treat all my symptoms with cannabis now.
I'm a disabled vet. I can't work because of my pain, but if I had this plant, I could go back to school. Why is that not important to these people?
There are several other marijuana efforts underway this session, including a couple bills to expand its medicinal use. Many Texans, especially veterans, say they're breaking the law to self-medicate.
It takes 5 sessions to really get your good bill passed. This is my 4th session, and we're not going to stop advocating until we get the medical marijuana program that we need in Texas.
When my father asked me what I was working on this time, and I said, well, I filed a bill to legalize industrial hemp. There was a long, long silence on the phone.
Hemp is a cousin of the marijuana plant, but it contains low levels of THC, which is the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana that gets you high.
This is either the 3rd or 4th session that legalization of industrial hemp has been attempted. And it's kind of each session has moved a little bit further in the process, but there was a lot of reluctance about, okay, what are we doing here? How far are we taking this? Are we legalizing marijuana? But there's been a lot more education about what industrial hemp is and what it's not. Hemp is a unique plant that it can be utilized from root to the tip and will open doors to new products, including automotive parts, hempcrete, fiber, clothing, construction material, and CBD oil. And then the other big issue, quite candidly, was at the federal level.
Well, the latest farm bill legalized industrial hemp as a crop plant, sparking interest for a number of producers looking to capitalize on the new commodity.
We've never really got into hemp because we couldn't. There's 7 states, including Texas, where it's still considered a narcotic.
What my bill does is it says that any type of hemp product that carries 0.3% or less THC, then it can be grown in Texas. To the farming community, this is a major piece of legislation. And any major piece of legislation, is, generally speaking, requires a long game approach to it.
If it was a football field, we've got it on the 2-yard line, about to punch it across the goal line. And it looks like that will happen.
Good morning, what an exciting day. One of my favorite quotes is a quote that we commonly use in our community that says, if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu.
If you would have told me when I came in as a legislator in 2013 that we now have a caucus just a few years later, I probably would have never believed you.
This year, for the first time, 5 out women in the Texas House came together to form the LGBTQ caucus. 3 of the women who are part of the group are freshmen.
The fact that we have an LGBT caucus this session is a huge sign of the times. And I think it really demonstrates that Texans don't want our legislature focusing on hate.
The caucus was really intentional in making sure that we weren't just defined by fighting anti-LGBT legislation, but also proposing policies that were important for Texas and LGBTQ Texans.
Representative Celia Israel is serving her 3rd session in the Texas House, and every session she's served, she's filed the same bill that would outlaw so-called conversion therapy for gay minors. But this is the first year that that bill even got a hearing.
Conversion therapy refers to counseling aimed at eliminating or suppressing the sexual orientation of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and/or transgender individuals.
That bill getting a hearing was entirely the result of the 2018 elections. We have a new speaker who's put Democrats at the helm of powerful committees. We have a Democrat chairing the Public Health Committee, Senfronia Thompson, who set that bill for a hearing. That couldn't have happened 2 years ago. The bill looks to be dead. It didn't get passed by the House before a deadline, but she said that just having the hearing was a major victory.
It doesn't mean passing a bill. It means having a significant hearing to make a difference in a child's life. It means so much. It's just, it feels wonderful.
The conversion therapy bill was only one sort of proactive gay rights piece of legislation that got its first hearing this year. All of those bills made it further this year than they have in years past.
Chair lays out on second reading House Bill 3172.
LGBTQ lawmakers and advocates are always sort of on offense and on defense in Texas.
HB 3172 by Krause, relating to the protection of religious beliefs and moral convictions, including beliefs and convictions regarding marriage.
Representative Matt Krause, a Republican of Fort Worth, had filed what he calls a religious liberty bill. It basically just says the government can't discriminate against you based on your affiliation with or membership in a religious organization. But LGBTQ lawmakers and advocates were really concerned that if this bill hit the floor, it could become kind of a Christmas tree for discriminatory amendments.
And so our caucus, obviously, that was a priority bill for us to focus on. And we collectively worked really, really hard to come up with a multi-level strategy approach to try to defeat that bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mrs. Johnson, for what purpose?
I rise under a point of order.
Julie Johnson hit it with what's called a point of order, sort of a procedural mechanism that can kill a bill in its tracks.
The point of order is well taken and sustained.
The House Speaker sustained, and that effectively killed the bill just hours before the midnight deadline in the House.
We had to stay on point, and we were able to be successful, and I'm so happy about that.
So days after, it was revived in the Texas Senate and sort of put on a fast track.
You have 2 ways of looking at things. You can either be hopeful at the change you see, or disappointed at how far it has yet to go.
I am counting this session as a win. Think where we were 2 years ago. The bathroom bill dominated all the oxygen in this space during session. We aren't really even having those conversations. They're very minimal. And so while we may not be advancing positive pieces of legislation, the fact that we aren't regressing is really a big win. And while obviously the discrimination still exists, what now also exists is optimism.
Let me get y'all's pick. Sometimes the media people tell me, nobody ever takes our pick. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
And we're going to put this all over our social media. So.